new things have you tried this week to improve your business? What have you done to improve your team? What do you think? I think we should get into that. Bring what you got.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Well, hey, everybody. Hope you all are doing good. I see the chat's been active. People are in and out. They're like, what's up? What's up? Jeff is over there typing on something. I'm watching him. And I said his name. Dang it. He looked up. It's much better if I get him when he's still looking down at whatever it is he's doing. I wonder what he's doing sometimes. Oh, look, he's got the mean frozen face. I love that.
Hey, man.
That's damn near a Walter face.
I'm working on it, man.
I mean, dude, we had the conversation that we had yesterday, and I'm telling you, that's close.
For those of you that have known me for a while on Facebook, my profile picture used to be just a funny from years ago, and it was gray lives matter, lives in gray hair. And it's a picture of a lawn with "Get off my lawn" on it, and a gray ribbon. So I've been prepared to sit out there with my rocking chair, my Afghan, and my shotgun for years, man. I'm looking forward to those days.
Right? It's hilarious. Travis Jones, I see your question. I'm going to star that, and I'm going to come back to that. I think that's an awesome question, and we will dive into that for sure. First, I'm going to go through the. So, yeah, look, Craig's back to his spot, his thing. That was the very first comment today.
Yay!
At 1:25 p.m. Eastern time. Good Lord. Josh McLean, Mike Henderson, James Vaughn, good to see you. Life on 18 Wheels, Full Send Trucking LLC, good to see you. Trucker Tim. Oh, we had some interesting conversations earlier. Chris Hamilton. Yeah, more people.
Hey,
Nick Earl.
Hey, Dennis, I'm at a Love's, but not by you. I'm in Wyoming.
Trucker Dan. Hey, buddy. Can't help it. That's the guy that gets his own special wave every time I see him.
Chris Hamilton. He's in West Memphis. How's West Memphis today? I remember back when the Petro actually had armed security,
right,
and all that, and they don't have the gates locked anymore. So I don't know, man.
Right.
That place is sketchy.
What's up? I know, dude. That's sketchy. I don't care when or yeah.
Dennis asked me how the weather is up here. It's actually pretty warm. It's like 56. But so those of you that might be headed this way, the reader boards in Wyoming, Charlie, lit up about 2 hours ago and said, expect road closure Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Nice.
Vehicles under 40,000 gross with closed trailers due to high winds.
Nice.
I'll be in Pueblo by then. But
good call. Yeah. Ryan Jess, good to see you. Jonah Green, hello. Wimpy McPote. Man with a million excuses. Bad at February weather. 66 degrees. Spring is here. Love global warming.
It's a weird year, man. They've got another storm coming into Utah. I was reading yesterday, like tomorrow and the next day, that's gonna bury the city again. And when I drove through this morning, it was like almost 60. I don't know.
Matt Nissen, Timothy Ransom, good to see you. Travis Jones, like I said, I see you. I'm going to come back to that for sure. Try to
make
Donna
is listening.
So, hi, the Donna.
When you guys see
Am.
that we are listening. Mom is driving. That's my 16-year-old typing that.
Rob
And
Toon, what's up?
and if I make her famous, she'll never forgive me, so I won't do that.
I'll make you famous. You'll be a daisy if you do. What? Yeah. Yeah. Mom is driving. That's code for watch yourself, Wimpy says.
Oh, okay.
I have to watch myself all the time anyhow. I get scolded.
Yeah, means the kids are listening.
That's fair. I like it. I like kids
Oh,
sometimes.
it's Rachel. Rachel wants to be famous, so I can say her name.
Oh, there you go. Hi, Rachel. 62 degrees in Phoenix. It was nice today out here in the Florida land, Crystal River. It was pretty mellow, man. There was a cold wind, but the sun, it was like clear blue sky. So for a while I was sitting out there in the front yard with my chair, my cigar, and a coffee and shivering a little bit. And then days later I started sweating.
Yeah.
The wind stopped blowing. I was like, well, damn, I don't even know what to do. Then I just decided to come in the house and be done with it. Now
Weren't you saying that you think you came pretty close to a tornado the other day?
I think it's possible. I don't know if, dude, it was sketchy. Georgia was sketchy the other day. It was, man, couldn't see through the crap we were driving through. And I mean, everybody was stopping at the underpasses. We got the warning on all the phones because that's fun. 3 cell phones in the truck all at one time doing the emergency. Blur, blur, blur. Oh, that's so much fun. Talking about seek shelter now. I'm like, drive faster, go. I don't know. It's not the best choice, but I just want to get the hell out of there. If I'm in a spot where they say seek shelter, I want to leave. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be there.
I had a student one time. We were in Denver, and the sirens were going off, right? And I'm like, okay, we need to get out of here. He was like, man, I've never seen a tornado before. And I'm like, and you're not seeing one today. We're going eastbound now. Floor it.
Go.
And all the storm chasers were going the opposite way, which made me feel really good.
See, you were on the right track for sure then. You don't see the storm tracker dudes in Georgia, though. You get no idea. I'm just like, oh, man, there's just a black blob everywhere. Hope, go, drive.
The closest I ever got was within about a mile of one. And that was scary enough, man. My student quit after that.
Yeah, I was in one that they said it was like a mile and a half wide. I was driving down 25 towards Denver up on that, plateau area, right? And there was just this massive black wall off to the left side. Turns out that was a tornado. But on the horizon, it looked like it was this tall because the cloud level being so low and just this. I thought, well, that's just the rain wall, hitting the ground like you see off in the distance. Apparently, it was some massive ground scrubbing tornado. And I'm like, I feel cheated because I didn't realize that was a tornado, and it didn't look like a tornado to me. So I call whatever. So I've never seen one in person. As far to this day, I'm sticking to that, even though they said that that's what I saw that day, and I call BS.
Timothy Ransom said it's 62 degrees in Phoenix. Let me tell you, when I lived down there, that was the perfect day. That there. So so I used to be into mountain biking when I was a young man, and I was in Phoenix at the time. And
I know
dude, there's some
bike that far back.
Yeah, they were the ones with the big wheel in the front.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Yeah. No, those days like that, man, we go up on Camelback Mountain and just freaking ride all day.
Right.
In the summertime, you got to be done with your ride by about 9-10 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, you just die.
Dad, whatever. Want to be famous? God, I apologize, Rachel, for throwing in my own attitude there.
It's pretty accurate.
I just felt like it was needed. I too once raised a 14-year-old girl. I'm just saying.
So you're about 2,500 miles away from Tooele, Utah right now. Could you feel that eye roll?
Right. Yeah. That's why I had to throw it in there too. So yeah, it was funny. We were talking to Tony the other day. He's like, yeah. It's 45 degrees here in Minnesota in February. This is crazy. This is great. I'm like, man, it's 52 in Florida right now, and I'm freezing. I got the heat on and a hoodie in my truck. He's like, wait, you got the heat on?
Yeah, and Tony's like, I've got my sleeveless shirt on. I'm loving life.
Right? Talking about, man, 52 degrees. That's like a morning in June. We're like getting ready to turn the AC on and the tractors. And I'm like, I got the heater, bro. I don't even know what you're talking about. I
What's
just
funny
called.
is it was like 55, and I did have my air conditioner on in the truck.
Oh my God. I don't even know what to do with that, dude.
Well, if it's sunny, these things are just big solar collectors.
Right. Oh, let's see what else we got going on. I asked a question today, as a matter of fact. We had a discussion going on about long deadhead loads with short paid mile loads, right? Mixed in. So double the empty miles at the empty rate versus with half loaded miles. And the debate was, would you take it? Would you not? Why wouldn't you? And it's not worth my time. I'm not making any money. And that got me on my little math machine, which, some folks call a calculator. I like to use my knots, my little ropes and beads and things like that to do some ciphering. But it's hard to carry the knots. Sometimes I lose track of the knots. But anyhow, but that got me wanting to do math even further. So then today I asked a question, and this was thrown out to the Swift guys in the private group. And just so we're clear for anyone who's not at Swift and doesn't understand exactly what I'm talking about, we have a sliding pay scale for loaded miles, which starts for the drive-in guys at $1.15 a mile plus fuel surcharge. This week, that fuel surcharge is 0.432. Let me put that up just so I don't screw that up. Sorry, my sinuses are going crazy right now. 0.434. I still feel like that's wrong. No, that's right. 0.434. I got it. I'm looking at the contract right now for $3.89. Anyhow, so 0.434 this week. The sliding scale goes from like $1.30 or $1.15 a mile, and it goes up to $1.36 a mile, depending on the length of haul for the loaded portion of your drive-in haul. I threw out the question and said, and the empty miles are paid at 85 cents with no surcharge. I forgot to say that. So I said, if a planner said, hey, man, you're in a crap area, I got no loads for the next few days, you are absolutely going to sit. I have nothing for you. But tell you what, if you want to move 1,000 miles, pull a trailer behind you, that's what we consider deadheading. And there was the reason I'm throwing that out there is because Swift and their planners don't want you moving from one market to another without an empty trailer, no matter what. They can and will send you back to the market you came from to get a trailer if they're having problems with trailers in that market. Seen it happen, not cool. So deadheading, meaning pulling in an empty trailer with you, 1,000 miles at the paid empty rate. Would you take that load? Why or when? Why not? And I closed comments on the group so that no one could answer there because I didn't want anyone's answer to be biased by another person's answer. I just wanted as many individuals as I could get to answer that question just based on that question. So I had them PM me. And throughout the day, I've been reading them to Jeff and we've been sharing them back and forth. And I said, look, so the thing I came up with at the end was slightly more than half, a slight majority, said, yes, I would do it because I would still make money. The ones that said no said I wouldn't make any money, or other various versions of that somehow, some way. And here's why I did this. When I sat down and did the math on this very thing, utilizing my weekly numbers for, my 23 truck with a high truck payment, I have 2 OCAC payments that I have to cover because I have myself and Rosie, 2 accident coverages that I cover. So my daily rate for my truck to sit and do absolutely nothing is about $134 and change.
And that's without idling.
Right. That is not factoring fuel to idle, because I didn't want to factor that in, because everybody seems to have different numbers on idle and how much fuel they're using and things like that.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I left that out.
there's people like me that idle way more than I should, just because whatever. It's my choice. And then
Right.
there's those of you out there that are in the freezer suit in the wintertime and have an ice bucket over your head in the summertime, trying not to idle that truck.
Right.
Those are the two extremes we see.
Right.
So
So that brings me to $134 and change to sit and do nothing, again, not counting idle time, or get paid 85 cents a mile. Okay. So you're paying for the fuel, the truck costs, the whole 9 yards, and going 1,000 miles. And the numbers came out. I want to just double check my numbers here, because I had them saved in my handy dandy calculator. Let me pull up my history real fast. Oh man, I did a lot of math.
I just mathed mine. I just did mine while we were talking.
Cool.
$137 a day.
Okay.
That's including like my Swift charities,
Right.
the IEL loan I have for fixing the other truck, all that stuff. So
Right. Oh yeah. See, I forgot about that. So, and I figured I'd be the high one, because the brand new truck and the double octac and everything. I forgot about that loan you had. So going back, I'm looking at 85 cents a mile. My cost of fuel at 10 miles per gallon at last week's fuel average, because that's when I did this, was still in last week's fuel mileage average. My price per mile on fuel was, what the hell did it go? 38 cents. My gross revenue on that 1,000 miles is 46 cents, or $460 to run that 1,000 miles. When I pulled the 134 out of that, so I'm going to redo the math. 460 minus 134 is $326 in profit. So for me, I have to adjust that, because for 1,000 miles, that would take Rosie and I a day and a half. So I'm going to do 134 divided by 2 is 67, plus 134 is 201. So that 460, dang it, where'd it go? Yeah, 460 is $259 profit after factoring all costs on the truck. But okay, so life on 18 wheels, but not all of us are getting 10 miles per gallon.
with an empty trailer?
With an empty trailer, I don't know why not. Even I'm even going to say this. If I had to run from Florida to Sumner, Washington with an empty trailer, I'm going to assure you that I would average at least 10 miles per gallon for that entire trip. Now, there may be parts of that trip where it's 8.5, but there's also going to be parts of that trip where I'm at 11.1.
Well, I just hauled an empty reefer from Salt Lake City to Sumner, Kent, same place.
Right.
And my dash was at 9.9 when I dropped that trailer, and that was even after going up all those mountains.
So that's the equivalent of an empty dry van trailer with 10,000 pounds in it.
Right.
Easy math for the.
And it had that what do you call that gate, that delivery gate thing?
A lift gate, right?
The lift gate, and a lift gate on it, and all the equipment and associated with that.
Right.
No skirts. Yeah, I sent a picture of this trailer to Charlie. I said, I don't think this is going to California.
Right. Wimpy, I can't answer your question right now, because I simply don't have the math in front of me. I could probably do the math, but that 1,000 miles worth of maintenance would not hardly dip into that.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to
I mean, it
calculate
is
that
something to
out,
factor, but I was trying to give just a broad general type of answer here.
so let's just say that you're putting 20 cents a mile into your maintenance account and you do Charlie math and you
Right.
don't count that as profit. I count
Right.
that as profit until it's spent. But so then you're still at 13 cents a mile profit
Right.
versus spending 130 some odd to sit there.
Right.
And
So now you're looking at what, $260 spread between the lost cost and the
right.
net revenue.
So, one of the more legitimate comments I thought you got, Charlie, was, well, I wouldn't do that without a guarantee. And
Right.
I would say that in this market, there is no guarantee.
Right.
But, if you have contacts, make some phone calls and see if it's a good idea. You
Right.
know, if you're solo, it's going to take you 2 shifts to get there. Realistically, if
Yeah.
you're going for fuel mileage, which you should be on something like that, 'cause
Right.
you're trying to squeeze every penny out of it,
500 miles a day, easy trip.
and ask them. So I'm going to be ready to go on the morning of day 3 at 0600. What's going on in 2 days at 0600?
Right.
And if they're like, well, there's really nothing over there, then I've got to think harder. If they say, man, they're deadheading you for a reason, they need trucks and trailers over there, they're overbooked by this, I'm gone. Boom.
Right.
So,
But
I mean, right now, I'm willing to deadhead 580 some odd miles to go do a Walmart surge for a week.
Right.
I've already calculated out it's going to cost me $200 in fuel. I'll make that up on the first day, by the way, between the price of fuel at the Walmart DC, the stop pay, and doing 2 shorter loads a day instead of 1 long one.
Right.
Because typically at a Walmart surge, I'm that guy. I'll do 250-mile runs with 3 stops on them.
Right.
To get that higher mileage rate and all that stop pay.
Yeah, and the free and the low cost fuel. Wimpy, what's the hourly pay rate on that trip? Don't care. I don't get paid hourly.
Nope.
I don't.
So that's something that I'll bring up, Wimpy. So part of our rebranding, the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs rebranding, is we're trying to get owner-operator truckers to start thinking like entrepreneurs, like actual business people, not people paying for a job.
Right. Not an hourly employee.
And here's the thing. Just go talk to, I don't know, this might be a loaded one. Go talk to the richest guy you know.
Right.
And ask them what they expect per hour. Now, if you're like me, the richest guy you know doesn't give a crap about his hourly rate. What they look at is that they are compensated for results.
Right.
However long that takes. They expect a big payout at the end of whatever it is they're doing. They don't calculate it out by the hour. So this is how like really actual rich people think that I've interviewed. And so that's something that I'm trying to be nice, Charlie, in how I say this, because AI is going to tell me, you could have said that better.
Right? I know.
But the hourly rate thing, that's a poor person's mentality. I'm sorry, but it is. People working for an hourly rate, and that's what they care about. Yeah. Okay, you'll always be on an hourly rate then.
Right.
I want to make 6 figures because I did something. And at the end of the year, I look at my finances, I'm like, wow, I got compensated pretty good for that project.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could look at it. You could say, how much do you make per mile? At 60 miles an hour, I could say I make this much per minute when I'm driving.
Yeah, you could do that.
Right. Example of that I had a 544-mile trip. My first trip this week. I only did 2 this week. It sucked. Uh, but so I only did 1,280 miles this week in our team truck. 2 days.
I did
And
1,100.
we're in profit. It's not great profit, but it's profit somewhere around $700 for the week.
I made enough this week to pay for my solar on my house.
Nice.
That's the way I look at things. You know, um,
I made
not a great week.
$1.82 a mile on that load.
Not a great week last week. 1,100 miles, profited 430 on 1,100 miles, which is not bad with my payments that I have.
Right.
If I was still driving my 16, that 420 miles would have been 1,200, or that $420 would have been closer to 1,200.
Right.
So
I mean, what we're talking about though is the mindset.
mhm.
How are you approaching and looking at your business? Are you looking at it like an employee, like very many people do when they first get into this? And we have people that have been doing this for 20 years that still look at it the same way. They got 20 years experience as a contractor, owner, operator, whatever you want to label us, but they've got 1 year of experience 20 times because they're just doing the same thing over and over versus being out there trying to learn something new and finding new ways to do things.
Right.
So if you can maximize your revenue by minimizing your expenses in a market or a customer like we have here, where the rates are pretty much fixed, there's nothing you can do to increase the revenue other than minimize your expenses, right? So on an empty trailer move for 1,000 miles, Rosie and I are going to do that at 60 miles an hour, and that's what we're going to do. Hell, Rosie may do 55. She's been pulling those out of me. It's funny. Rosie and I had a conversation about this. She's like, when you first tried to get me to do 57 and Chewy, because that was the ideal speed for Chewy, right? She's like, I'd wait till you went to sleep and I'd start doing 63, 65. And then I'd wake up in the morning. She's like, I'm like, oh, let me see what's going on here. Because I'd look at the dash, see the miles, see how much time she took. I'd look at logs. Go, oh, you were doing 63, huh? She's like, whatever. Like, what? What do you mean? But then she actually started paying attention. She's like, okay. And it drove her nuts driving that slow. It really did. It just drove her nuts. And finally she just started stepping down little by little by little by little. And now it's funny because I struggle below 60 miles an hour. But the other morning I woke up, Rosie's literally doing 53 miles an hour because we were in no rush to get to our first store. There's like nobody out there on the road. It was raining, it was like that miserable drizzle that happens, right? And she's doing 53 miles an hour. And I look down, I'm like, sweet Jesus, all right. Good on you. And the fuel mileage was great. We were 9.5 for that entire load or something like that.
Charlie, with an empty trailer, that issue you were having with it lugging on the hills probably wouldn't be an issue.
Right. I could probably slow it down. Right. So I don't know. I thought it was an interesting exercise today to see what other folks thought I'm not gonna lie. I told Jeff that I believed more people would say they wouldn't take it. And I was pleasantly surprised to find out that of those who responded, the majority actually said they would run it and had valid reasons for running it, talking about the profit lines. Now, I will say this. Most people said, oh, well, I'll make this much money. They were kind of in the ballpark, but nobody got exact. Nobody really broke down the math before they sent me the answer.
I'll call Craig up because I know he doesn't mind. That the only thing he missed was I had to remind him that don't forget about your fixed costs. You got to put that in there.
And
Because
so I
you're
mean,
expected
Greg
to
was
make
pretty damn
$600,
close.
but you don't put the fixed costs in there, then you're disappointed. You know.
So that was cool though. So I appreciate you guys. Those of you guys that participated and even in here in the chat, I appreciate you and I thank you for stumbling along through this with us because I just want all we're trying to do is get you to change your mindset. Stop being that old company driver that's hard to break out of there. It is hard to break that.
Yeah, it is.
But if you're going to succeed, especially in times like we're in right now with this kind of a market, you've got to break that. Otherwise, you are doomed. And I don't want to say people are doomed, but that is a bad place to be.
So Timothy says 53 miles per hour on the interstate. I imagine you had a line of traffic behind you cussing you out. So here's the thing, Tim. Charlie forces Rosie to drive at night.
You
So
got to
there's no
stop.
traffic.
I don't force her to do anything. She chose to drive at night.
Yeah, okay.
And it's, you know, what amazes me is most of where we're running is 3 lanes and people drop in behind her and use her as a beacon to just have something in front of them as they drive. Doesn't matter what speed she's driving either. It cracks me up.
So here's a good one, Charlie. Texanity. He deadheaded from Las Vegas to Salt Lake City on Sunday. Immediately got a load instead of sitting. This gave me 2 loads since Sunday and an extra 1,000 miles for the pay period.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
And you know, Vegas is one of those things. There's either something there for you or it's a wait. Like
right. Yeah. That is a bummer there. I'm like Vegas. Oh, I might have to sit for 3 days in Vegas. I don't know. Is it really worth me going there? I'm like, babe, we're going to grab a room at MGM or something today.
Yeah.
But I'll tell a planner, I don't know, man. Is there a little something you can throw on that? Something I can throw back out at the craps table.
There you go.
Don't
Squirrel.
tell them that. Yeah. But
Full Send and Trucking's got your number, man.
For real. So, but yeah, so I thought that was an interesting exercise today. And basically, what we want. I look really bad today. Like my eyes are I had this crazy migraine today and I tried to sleep it out and couldn't go to sleep. It was so bad. It was one of those. And it just takes so much out of me. So I apologize for I'll try to open my eyes some so it doesn't look like I'm squinting. Is that better? How's that look? I think that might look
looks kind of creepy.
Hi guys. Glad to see you.
I think you just aged 20 years by doing that.
Right. So we want to get you in that entrepreneurial mindset, y'all, because I think that's going to make the difference for a lot of people. Fancy words for, thinking like a person who's running a business. Change the way you're looking at things, change the way you see things, and you will start noticing some differences in everything you do in business. Jeff and I are looking for opportunities all over the place, not just in trucking, right? I mean, I happen to stumble across a weird opportunity that I immediately, because of the entrepreneurial mindset I've been working on really hard for myself, it got the wheels spinning. That's a good move. It got the wheels spinning in my head, and I'm like, hey, Jeff, what do you think about this? And, I know nothing about this other business opportunity other than the fact that there may be an opening somewhere doing something. And I'm sorry for being vague, but that's just the way it has to be. And it was based on relationships I've built over the last several years that I even came across this information. And Jeff and I immediately start going back and forth. All right, so here's where you could do this, you could do that. We don't know about this. We need to find out about this aspect of it. And is there, a profit line that could be made there? And here's the entrepreneurial thing in here, and working. I recently read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and his follow-up book. What was the name of that one? It was I can't think of the name. Cash Flow Quadrant. Rich Dad Poor Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant. And read the book. Okay, listen to the book, read the book. Both of them, I'm telling you right now, life changing in the way that you'll start seeing things. Anyhow, with that in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we start this other business, this opportunity, and we hire someone to manage it, and we're making, margins, small margins, but positive margins on the back end for something we're no longer running. We simply had an idea, a thought when an opportunity arose and possibly able to act on that. Now I'm not dependent on a single source of income, which
Right.
hopefully none of us are, over time. But, because it's tough when you're dependent on a single source, it makes it tough.
Yep.
So, yeah, anyhow, I thought that was interesting. And just that, that I've been doing a lot of weird reading. I've gotten off of my fantasy books for a while because I need to get some business stuff rolling in my head again. And listen to a bunch of business type podcasts, marketing, sales, things like that, because that's something Jeff and I are working on as well. Yeah, just trying to get my mind right back into the business. A lot of my medical stuff has been taken care of over the last 18 months. I've got some minor stuff I'm still working on, but we're in kind of the final stages of a lot of it, getting it all under control. So I've got to get my mind right because last year was brutal for me. When the numbers come down, it's ugly. It was just a bad year for me. And I catch static for it all the time because, yeah, there's comments throughout the week, the last couple of weeks. Oh, well, show us your numbers. I'm like, look, I told you, it's the worst year I've ever had as a contractor. And this is why: medical things, plus the market downturn and everything else. And just the whole 9 yards. I'm not hiding it. I don't think I necessarily need to show you, oh, I only made $2,000 for the year. Trust me when I say it's the worst year I've ever had. It's the worst year I've ever had. But I'm still here. My truck is paid for. I'm not in arrears. I don't know. House, I got a roof over my head today.
Yeah.
Every day is a struggle, I suppose, but I mean, whatever.
Wimpy's always good for some stuff, man. Wimpy says, rose-colored glasses company guys are making 65 cents and zero expenses. Yeah, well, so in normal
and
times,
you'll always make that.
And you'll always make that, yeah. In normal times, I can tell you, Wimpy, we've published our numbers before, and this year was really bad, no doubt about it. So we made less money than you. But my truck, even with a payment, nets 85 to 90 cents a mile.
Right.
Of that, I pay myself on a W-2 about 60% of that. And the rest of that I get to take out without paying any Social Security on. That's a normal year for us as entrepreneurs. And it's not the only source of income that Charlie and I have. We're branching out. We have other businesses. We have other opportunities. That's the true entrepreneurial mindset. And you've mentioned that you have more than one house. I'm assuming you're renting some of those out. That's the entrepreneurial mindset. You've chosen not to actually have a trucking business. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. You
have other avenues. If you're looking at opportunities, that's what we're on the soapbox about today. There's lots of guys that just drive company truck, but they've got these other businesses going. They own property, they invest, they do things.
And right there, this line, I did pay off all my credit cards this week, went from 12,000 to 0. Congratulations, brother, because I can tell you there's an awful lot of people out here who cannot say that right now.
Most people went the other way. So yeah, this is, especially in owner-operator land, this business is absolutely feast or famine. You're either doing really well, and that's when you start hearing guys saying, oh, you guys are done for being company drivers, or I'm making this much. And then when 2023 happens, crickets. You don't hear from these guys at all. There's some of them over the years where we wonder.
Opposite.
Yeah.
I got rid of my truck. I'm going back to company, man. This is stupid. I don't know why anyone's doing this.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, there's guys over the years that we've known that just disappeared off the face of the planet. We don't know what happened to them. other than it happened during down market years. So, and that's part of that. That is also part of the entrepreneurial mindset. We look at it from a perspective of we want to be in business, no matter what that business is. You've heard me say before that if I didn't own my truck, if I wasn't a contractor, I would have some other business, grass cutting. Um, I actually had a business plan to open a game store at one point. I always looking for something. I mean, I don't
CW
even.
just said it all, by the way, Jeff. You know, this show must suck. There's 27 people watching, but only 3 likes.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate
It's
that.
our lot in life.
I love it. I love it. Oh, I want to go back to Travis Jones. Travis, I hope you're still here, buddy. I apologize for making you wait. Hey, Charlie, my contract is up. I can pay off the truck at $40K or upgrade. Current truck is a 2020 Freight Shaker with 456,000 miles. Upgrade would be to a new 24, cost of $150K. What would you do, Charlie? So let me tell you what I would do, and then I'd like to get Jeff's take on it. And here, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, so I'm going to need some follow-up from you on this, all right? My question is, at $40K, what is your truck worth right now if you went to go buy the identical truck on, say, truckpaper.com? Valid question. What's your history on this truck over the last 456,000 miles as far as what kind of problems have you had? What problems have you not had? What's your maintenance been like on it? Are you religious about getting the maintenance done? 25,000 mile lubes, 50,000 mile services, the whole 9 yards following that contract and the service schedule by the manufacturer. Have you been slack? I mean, have you noticed some things changing? What's your fuel mileage like? All of these factors. Let's say you're doing all the things right. And I don't know what truckpaper.com right now, but let's say truckpaper.com says your truck's 45 grand on average. I think you've got a better deal to pay this one off. If you can find your exact truck pretty close to the same mileage, get a good idea on the service history behind it. Maybe you're buying from a known source, like some of the trucks Jeff and I have listed on the website, where we know what their maintenance schedule is and how meticulous they are with those. And let's say they're offering the same truck for, 35K. Well, maybe that's the way you go. I can't just give you a flat blanket answer because I have to know all those variables. So those variables are going to come into play. So it falls back to you. Throw out some answers if you could, or if you want to. If not, I mean, you can take that general answer and run with it, brother. I mean, that's totally up to you. I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything like that. But, so how's the service been done on it? What kind of, religious vigor have you done that servicing? Where have you had those services done? Those sort of things. And what is your truck's worth on truckpaper.com, which is honestly the best place to get a good estimated value through the averages. Jeff, your thoughts. Throwing it back to you, brother.
If it was one of my trucks, I know what the maintenance is on it. I would probably buy it out if I had the cash. A couple of things to look at, and we're going to have to eat our words, Charlie, on our opinion on credit, I think.
Yeah, right now.
We've asked a lot of questions over the last few weeks about the use of credit. And even though it's a scary thing to me still, and we've always kind of said this, there is a place and a time for credit if it's used responsibly. But if you could drop cash on that truck, and it's a solid truck, that's the thing. I had my 2012 is a good example. I didn't even finish the lease on that when it was so bad. Got into my 16, which lasted me 7 years before
Right.
I finally decided enough. I'm done working on it for now. Let's get a new truck. Be prepared for a little bit more maintenance on it.
Right.
But, let's run a quick number.
But typically
You're
not
gonna,
cost prohibitive if you're planning right.
yeah, if you don't like spend a bunch of money moving from one state to another,
Right.
that might put a damper on things.
Yeah.
But so at 40K, Charlie, that's got to is that's not an MRP, is it? How do you get it for 40K?
Don't know.
Let's do the numbers based on an MRP lease. Actually, no. If he's going into 24, it's going to be the 595.
Right now, yeah.
So that right there, that's $30,940 a year in payments to that brand new truck. Okay. And you got a $40,000 buyout. That's about a year and a quarter, and you're in the green.
Right.
That you will make that money, that 40,000 back in the first year and a quarter. And that's not counting per diem, Charlie.
Right.
Or not per diem, depreciation.
Right. Depreciation.
Because you're going to depreciate that $40,000 over the next 3 years or so.
Which is a reduction in your tax liability.
So on the tax side, basically by the time you get done depreciating a truck, you literally just didn't pay for it because you aren't paying taxes on all of your income at that point.
$13,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of it's also going to delay when you're going to have that higher tax bill because your income goes up.
Right.
By about 3 years.
Right.
So those are the things that I look at. If it's a solid truck and I can own that thing for 40 grand, I'm owning that truck.
Yeah. So going back to what I was saying, $5,000 less out on the market, even from a known entity, still doesn't beat what I know about that truck for the entire time, right? So I'm actually going to backstep what I said there. If it's only a $5,000 difference, I probably might just spend the 40. Now that I'm thinking it through a little bit further because of the fact that I know what I know about that truck. I think I know what I know about that other truck, right? But there's no guarantee. Let's be real. I mean, I've got a pretty good idea on that other company's maintenance stuff. But again, I know what I know about my truck, period. So I don't know. I think you got to look at it case by case and really dig into it. So Travis got some numbers for us. Miles per gallon is 8.8. PMs are up to date. I haven't had any issues with it. Swift Shop is taking good care of me. I'm not sure what the truck is worth. I'll look into it. I'm just paranoid about breakdown. So CW just threw up what your truck is worth out on the market right now. 125 with 440,000 for 54,000. So it depends on your model. He's got one that's 2020 126 with 398,000 miles on it for 65,000. He initially said that a 2020 chick goes for around 55 with that mileage. So CW's actually had a pretty good lockdown on this model year, it looks like. So, I think maybe you're in a good spot. Again, I think that everybody, when they get to that point, has to look at and okay, so the question is do you have the 40K to buy the truck out?
Right. And as far as being paranoid about breakdowns, I'll just tell you what my experience was. It didn't really start to where I had a lot of downtime until I got to 900,000 miles.
Right.
That
For
was
me,
when
the motor went at 960, 940, something like that on Chewy.
And it started with the water pump.
2 on the tranny.
And it started with a water pump.
Right. Maybe 1.5 on the tranny. I can't remember now. I lost track of it, honestly.
So yeah, I mean, on that truck for about another 10 grand, I could get it roadworthy again. Would be it just guessing because of what I know is wrong with it.
Here's another option. Buy it out and sell it. You've already made a profit on that sale. Going by the open market.
I think you make a better profit by driving it.
Right.
Over time.
Right.
That's what you want to look at. Again, the entrepreneurial mindset here is what is that asset going to bring you over the next 5 years?
Well, how's this one? pay it off and trade it in on a newer truck at a dealer. That's another option.
When you
You know,
could,
what's that?
but
What's
then you
the
got payments
financing
again.
going to cost? Right? What's the financing going to cost you at a dealer? You know, I mean, you would effectively be putting down $40,000 or $50,000 on your next one in
Mhm.
trade-in value, right? Depending on how they wanted to value it. They're going to lowball you on the trade-in value typically because they need to mark it up to what the market is. So, I mean, it's all valid options. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, it really depends on what your desired outcome is and what you're ready to be able to do. You know, like I said, do you have the 40K to pay it off? If you do, I think it might be a good choice. If you
Mhm.
don't and you're financing that, what is that 40K going to cost you over whatever the term is of your financing?
So CW, we happen to know a little bit about this. What we're seeing is between 7.5% and 15% on interest
Yeah.
rates right now.
12,
And
11, 12 seems to be a pretty average spot right now, honestly, is what we just found out yesterday, the day before, when we were talking to someone about this very financing thing.
yeah, and you got to have a credit score of at least 625. You got to have a down payment, all those things. Now, when you're turning a truck in, that could be the down payment. That's true.
Right. Yeah.
So that could take care of that, but you're still stuck with that interest rate depending on what your credit score is. I mean, the lowest we saw in the last week was a guy that had an 850 credit score
Right.
and a 7.5% interest rate.
Right. So Travis doesn't have the 40K. Fair. So he does have to finance. He can finance
Mhm.
it through his credit union. So he's got a good relationship with his credit union, obviously. He's just
Well, I
paranoid
would
about
say
paying them.
this. Have you talked to your credit union specifically about this purchase?
Yeah.
Because the Class 8 truck market is not a car.
Right.
Banks, there's a reason why the interest rates are so much higher on trucks than they are on cars. They're a
Especially right
higher
now.
risk for the bank. We've got a lot of defaults in the market right now. I can't remember who was talking about it. It was one of the podcasts that I was listening to about the credit crunch that's coming.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Kiyosaki, it was someone else specifically talking about Class 8 trucks getting upwards of around 20-21% interest rate
Wow.
if these
That would
defaults
suck.
keep happening. Well, we had a lot of people get into the business during COVID that really shouldn't have been in the business.
Right. Well, when I
Paying
bought Chewy,
way too much for trucks.
when I bought Chewy, it was $42,000. I put 10, 11,000 down and finance for 3 years, 36 months, 880 a month. I don't know what the math is, but I want to say that I feel like it was around 11%,
Oh,
maybe 12.
so if your credit union or bank, by the way, guys, won't finance you directly, ask them about an SBA loan
Yeah.
because SBA loans are a little easier to get. Um, there's money out there for small businesses that is just there. And
Travis,
if you could get one of those, you might be able to the bank you bank with will write the loan and get they have a thing. It's a whole thing.
Travis, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. If you've got me on Facebook, feel free to throw the answer there if you want to. I am going to ask you, and again, don't answer if you're not comfortable doing it. But what is your current credit score? And look, I don't feel. I'm telling you that I ain't judging nobody for their credit score after this last year, because I've seen some credit scores from the 400 right up to the max, up in that 850 range, like we said. And I ain't judging nobody. I'm saying the guy with that high one, good on you, brother. You're doing better than me right now. I'm not going to say what mine is. I know what mine is. I checked it today, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I told
It
you not
ain't
to
eight.
do that.
I know. I told you I was going to do it. I was going to keep my damn head in the
And
sand.
and you got a migraine. Let's just
Hey,
say it.
But Jeff, you're going to be surprised by this. It was better than I thought it was going to be. So I was
Okay.
actually pleasantly surprised. Oddly, I was. It threw me off. But and here's the reason I asked that, because that's going to affect your financing,
Mhm.
right? You know, like these trucks that we have listed on the website right now, the financing that our guys have been able to get set up for those. I mean, you got to have a 620 credit score minimally. The bottom end of that is 620, and I know people right now that just don't have it. I mean, there are ways to get there. Jeff and I would love to talk to you if you're got a low credit score and you want to work on building it up. And hey, we'll talk to you about it. I mean, we've got some ideas that proven ways to do things that will help. It's not going to happen in a month. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time to do this. And depending on how far down it is, it could take you a year, could take you 2, right? But
Well,
there are things you
I,
could do.
I don't mind telling people, I didn't use credit for the longest time.
Right.
And so that really hurt my credit score. And so when I first just started looking at moving to Utah, I looked at it, I'm like, well, crap, I need a better credit score than that. And it did. It took me about 2 years to get my credit up into where it needed to be so that I could get another mortgage. But you do things like download Credit Karma, start. It's almost like fuel mileage charting.
Right.
When people start watching their fuel mileage, it's like magic. Their fuel mileage goes up just a little bit. Same with your
Absolutely.
credit score. If you're looking at it every couple of weeks, which you could do on Credit Karma, just watching it, and then you're like, well, do I really need to swipe plastic for that? No, I'm working on my credit score.
Somebody just pointed out something to me in a PM. So I said
Mm.
a day and a half to run that 1,000 miles earlier. I had 1,500 from another example I had put up on the Facebook group. 1,000 miles is under a day for a team.
For you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was lost there. Sorry. So that actually put my profit margin up higher than what I had said earlier. So I just wanted to correct myself. Oh my God, Charlie was wrong. Guess what? I'm cool with it. Corrections, yo. Math is hard some days. And I had something else on my mind. But that was from someone who just sent me a PM about that. And said I'd run that 1,000 miles without thinking twice about it. Running team, it's less than a day to get there. Stack us up, baby. I see. You're right. It's profit, not a loss. It's not great profit. But
Yeah.
$300 on a load for a day is better than that $134 out of your
So
pocket.
I want to address something that I know someone listening is thinking about this. So let's just get it out there. The whole business credit thing. So here's the thing with that. When you first start your business credit, and I don't know, I never actually officially went for business credit per se,
Right.
because here's the thing. When you first go for business credit, guess what? The credit is your credit. It's your personal credit.
Right.
No ifs, no ands, no
It's
buts.
based on your credit rating and all the credit rating bureaus.
Right. Until you have a business that's grossing almost $1 million at least, there's no separation between you and that credit at all. There just isn't. You are guaranteeing that loan. And even at that point, like Contractors Corner Consulting Group is a partnership LLC between Charlie and I. If we went to go get a loan, let's say we lost our minds and decided to get credit so that we could do a bunch of advertising. I would have to sign it, and Charlie would have to sign it. We're both guaranteeing that loan.
Right.
So if we default on that, they're coming after both of us.
Right.
Anybody that's an officer, anybody that's an officer in your company. So even Donna, my wife, is listed on my LLC as 49% ownership. If I wanted a business credit card, we get them from Chase like freaking every day.
Right.
And we've just never applied for one. But on the paperwork, she's an officer of my LLC. So her personal credit would be a guarantor for that credit card.
Right.
Because she's an officer of the company. So it's not like you see on the late night TV and some of the XM radio commercials where, yeah, get your business credit. No, it's not really that easy. You are guaranteeing those loans yourself. And, like I say, if say your wife is an officer in your little LLC, guess what? She's on the hook too.
Right.
So
So
those are
Travis,
things
just
to think about.
or follow up. Yeah, my bank is asking me for 5K down, and they cover the rest. That's
Oh,
actually a good down payment. So I'm gonna assume your credit's actually not horrible.
yeah.
Um, uh, because what we're finding out now, and we've got some fairly reasonable financing set up through the people that we're that are offering these trucks. Rather, they've gone out and shopped some financing so they can make that available to people if they're interested. But I mean, even they're looking at a 620 credit score and 20% down. So on a 50K truck, that's 10 grand down. You're
Mhm.
looking at 5,000 down on a $40,000 truck. I think you're probably sitting fairly well. And he said, we haven't talked about interest or payments yet. The situation is only 5 hours old. So I get it, man. It just popped up. You're good to go. You're thinking it out. I wish you had started thinking about this 12 months ago, 18 months ago, because we
Yeah.
might have been able to guide you into being able to just walk in and drop 40K on it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, now is better than never. And I've
And
seen guys that were like, "Oh, my lease ended a month ago. I'm still in it, running it because I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet, and I have no money saved and have no plans and haven't talked to my credit union. Nothing. It's a thing.
yeah.
It's real. So you're ahead of some, behind some others, but sounds like you're not in a bad spot, bro. And then
And
going back to just to be clear, a new 24 kW for 150 is a no go. Again,
it
I
depends.
personally, yeah, I think it falls back onto what it is you want to do and your how you not just I don't want to say feel, but how you feel about it and what
Run the
your
numbers
intentions are.
and
Yeah, the
let the
numbers
numbers
are
decide for you.
right. Removing feeling. I love to say it, but you can't always do it 100%. But the numbers will change your feelings many times.
Hmm.
So, let that guide you as you need to. Like I said, feel free to reach out to Jeff or myself on Facebook, Charlie Mahan, MHON, or Jeffrey Morton. I just like saying it that way. Or Morton. He hates when I say it
And
that way. Morton. Anyhow, reach out to either one of us or both of us or in the group. And
so
by all means, we could talk.
so this is a good one. Trucker Tim, so if you declare bankruptcy, you're still liable for the loan. Charlie, I've never claimed bankruptcy before,
I have
but Charlie has. So I'm going to let him take that one.
the year was
By, by the way, by the way, no hate on people that have claimed bankruptcy. It just happens sometimes.
yeah. I was upside down on a house in North Carolina. A bunch of dumb debt that was left over from my army days when I was a private, when everybody and their brother threw credit cards and credit lines at you. They're like, "You're in the
Buy
army
here,
and
pay
you've got a
here.
paycheck." Yeah, yeah.
Here, sign this allotment form.
Exactly, right? And then I realized that, 5 years later, I'm still making minimum payments. I've paid
Hmm.
nothing on principal because the interest rate was 22%, right? And I had tenants in a house that was no longer living in that destroyed a third of the floors. Whatever, get past it. I filed bankruptcy in 2000. It was 99 or 2000. Um, Here's the thing. If you're no longer liable to repay that loan, you're also not entitled to that asset. You can't keep that thing. If you're wrapping, like let's say you're wrapping your truck into your bankruptcy, you're going to lose the truck. They're going to sell it, and whatever money comes from that, they're going to keep or apply to any other debts you have.
Right.
That is my best understanding, especially and mind you, the bankruptcy laws changed between 2000 and now. There's a lot more involved, and it's not quite as friendly as it was back then, because they want to hold people liable and more adulty to it.
Thank you, 2008. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, right. Um, it's a thing. So if for instance, you were claiming your truck as part of your bankruptcy, you're going to lose that truck. It's
Yep.
going to be a sold asset, and hopefully they make at least what you owe on it, and it
Yeah,
doesn't ding you quite as bad.
from my understanding, when you settle a bankruptcy, the court decides what you owe afterwards. Yeah, it's completely out of your hands. It's completely out of your creditor's hands. That's kind of the point.
Right.
So whatever that judgment ends up being, that's what you're stuck with.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people where the judge or the court system will say, okay, we're going to wipe out all your debt, but for the next 12 months, you're going to pay $1,100 a month into this fund where they're going to divvy it out to as many creditors as they can based on, the age of the debt and that sort of thing. Where I've seen others are like, all right, you're out because you have no hope of paying anything anyhow because you're so backwards and upside down right now. You're just screwed.
I mean, and it's an interesting thing. I mean, let's say, for instance, that your insurance company becomes insolvent and you have a wreck the next day after this is settled.
Right.
Guess what happens to your claim? You're at the back of the line, brother.
Right.
Because if an insurance company is deemed insolvent, what happens is they pay the oldest claim first. And then when they run out of money, they run out of money. And unless I'm grossly misunderstanding how bankruptcy works, that's pretty much the best way to put it. The people, there's a hierarchy of lenders that come first, and once the money's gone, it's gone.
Right.
And the judge will decide, like Charlie said, you might have to pay $1,100 a month for 12 months to put into that pool, so that more of your creditors get satisfied. So
right. And each of your creditors can fight the bankruptcy. They rarely do in the past. Like, okay, so back when I was doing it, like nobody showed up. That was that was a very crappy position because I had to go into an open courtroom with 100 people in there, and I felt like every single no. I just felt like every single person in there was judging me because this was a bankruptcy court, right? Some of there filing bankruptcy, some of there are, debt collectors, what have you, right? And your creditors have the ability and the right to stand up in court and declare what it is you owe them and what a terrible person you've been to them from a business standpoint, right? So they open it up. They're like, all right, here's Charlemagne who wants to get some money out of his backside. Come on down. Crickets, bro. Crickets. Not a single creditor showed up at my bankruptcy. Wow. Got to tell you, I felt a little good about that because I was already beating myself up over the whole thing. I just honestly could not find a way out. There was no way out for me on this thing. I just couldn't do it. I mean, I gave up my house. I lost the house that we had in North Carolina. The property, the house, the whole 9 yards. That hurt more than anything. Well, no, actually it didn't. What hurt more than anything was the way I beat myself up for being in that situation and being that guy that I felt like was not a good person in court. I mean, later I got past it and I overcome it and started building credit again. Funny thing about bankruptcy, every credit card company out there, every loan company out there now wants to be your friend because you can't file bankruptcy for a while.
Right.
They're like, he's a safe bet right now. It's like being a private in the Army all over again.
So James says, I know once this contract is up, I'm going company here in 2 years. I'm going to be getting out of the truck. So let's put our entrepreneur hat on for a second. I want you to think about something. What if you paid that truck off and bought a trailer? Could you ship your farm goods yourself to market and make a bigger profit? You're doing that saffron thing.
Maybe part-time that truck out in the open market, hire a driver.
Yeah. I mean, when my wife and I were first married, we worked at a cannery, did fruit, Everfresh Fruit Company. And the owner of the cannery was a friend of my father's. That's kind of how we got the job, just kind of summer work, saving money for college. And he owned 2 trucks himself with reefer trailers. And he had 2 drivers for those trucks. And the finished product, he shipped to market himself and made a bigger profit.
Right.
Just something to think about, man. Something to think about, man.
James said he already owns a trailer and truck in Mexico.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well,
maybe you need 2.
Yeah, maybe with your knowledge of the industry and that you've been working, like I said, maybe you could hire a driver. Maybe you could hire yourself one of those B1 drivers.
Yeah.
Just saying. Uh, by the way, Tim said he lost a car 20 years ago due to declaring bankruptcy, but that was a personal loan. Wasn't sure on a business loan, especially if the asset was your moneymaker. Nope, they don't care. They're like, go get a job, bro. Figure something out.
Well, there's
Uh,
something in the new bankruptcy laws about that, though, Charlie. He may be correct. I would say to ask a lawyer about it if you get yourself in that position, because with the new laws,
yeah,
they can't take your primary residence, they can't take your roof over your head, and they cannot take the vehicle you use to go to work with.
right.
They can't
But
take your income away or your ability to make money away, and they cannot take your house away.
that doesn't alleviate you from paying for those assets still.
Right. It
You
would
still
just get
have to pay for
it
those
would get
assets. Yeah.
restructured.
So but that's a misconception I think a lot of people have. They say, "Oh, well, they can't take my house and they can't take my primary vehicle," right? That doesn't mean you're not paying for them. You're
Right.
still going to pay for them,
They'll just restructure the loans.
right? And typically, what they'll do is they'll try and figure out a lower interest rate that will allow you to pay it off a little bit quicker, a little bit easier.
Which ain't happening today. Just saying.
You know, yeah. Good luck. Maybe they'll extend it. You only got 2 years left on your loan, and now they just made it 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, bummer, but okay, saved you, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so you just remember you're not going to on those types of assets, you won't lose the debt. It may force a restructure, but you're not going to lose the debt. So don't think they're just going to let you keep the truck and not pay for it. Because that is a common misconception.
Yeah, I mean, like with your primary residence, it's almost stupid easy to restructure those loans now.
Right.
There's been enough foreclosures that the banks are just like, yeah, we don't want the house, we want your money.
Yeah.
Let's do something.
You've been paying for 10 years of interest. We're going to re-extend it back to a 30-year note again and let you start all over. What did that just cost you, though? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Mike Henderson, bankruptcy laws do differ by state. So I mean, yeah. And look, I probably should have prefaced all this with consult legal advice in that specialty because there is absolutely a specialty around bankruptcy.
Oh yeah.
So let me go back and say that seek a lawyer's advice. But you asked the question. We're going to share our opinions. These opinions are ours and ours alone, based on things that we've done in the past and experiences we've had, or simply theories we may have based on knowledge.
The views expressed on this show are solely that of Charlie Mann and Jeffrey Morton.
All right.
It should not be
That's
misconstrued as professional advice.
Especially not on legal stuff. Good Lord. We
Oh,
can definitely
man.
give you some business advice.
Yeah. So,
But again,
Tim, some of y'all inspired me to consider starting a small fleet, but I'm waiting to find out more on that final rule and for the freight to pick up. So I would say this, Tim, get back to your why. Why do you want to be a fleet owner? What's your reason for it? I know I just talked to Alan Becker about his fleet today, and man, that guy has changed his views on that whole thing so much in the last 2 years.
right.
Right now he's just trying to keep butts and seats on those 5 trucks, and so he's
Doing good enough.
He's looking at the compensation for his drivers and maybe messing around with that a little bit. Yeah, I think it comes back to your why. For my fleet idea, it's more of an altruistic why, I guess.
Right.
I want to teach guys how to succeed in this business. And
Completely different type of fleet.
So I might just say, okay, each truck's got a 20-cent maintenance account, and you guys just take the rest of the money. Whatever you make, but I'm taking that 20 cents. And if the truck breaks down, it'll be there to fix the truck. If I've got some left over at the end of the year, I might cash some out for myself. But the whole point of my fleet is to teach guys. If I make money in the process, bonus.
Just don't want to lose money on it. That's pretty
Right.
much the goal there.
Yep. If you're growing a fleet to become Richie Rich, that's a totally different discussion.
Yeah, different model completely.
Um, and on that, I would be looking at every opportunity out there. Seriously. We've talked to small fleet owners at other carriers that are doing well and some that gave it up. Because employees, man, it's a different ball game, man.
Fleets suck
So
because drivers suck, according to Mike Henderson. Not going to argue.
I'm not going to argue with that. Oh,
Anyway, sorry, bro.
Life on 18 wheels. We'll go ahead and do that one. We'll see.
Yeah.
Will we see a positive flow in trucking for 2024? So in my little niche, where I live, where I have seen more freight since the year turned. It's been more steady, at least. Not necessarily going to the places that I prefer to do business, if you know what I mean.
He's been in
But-
Oregon several times.
But it has been more consistent already. So I think we are on an upswing. We'll have to see after the first quarter is over what we're really looking at. But yeah.
I think we may be seeing a slight uptick, but I'm worried that it may be a false flag, if that makes sense.
It might be.
And honestly, it's a freaking coin toss right now, man. And it's just because I am very pessimistic right now.
We are in an election year, general
Right.
election year, not just your little senators in your little state. There's a general election year. So the politicians, again, I'm not going to argue politics with you, but I'm going to tell you, pay attention to politics because it absolutely has an impact on your business. So during an election year, all these politicians are going to try and do things to make you vote for them, which means that we might have a pretty decent year just because of that.
Right.
Or they could do something totally wackadoodle and it goes the other way.
Right.
It just.
Or the world could be burning tomorrow. Who knows,
be.
man?
If we focus on what you can do something about. Charlie and I get accused all the time, Mr. Swift and his sidekick. I'm telling you, we're looking at opportunities everywhere. Ooh. We actually have an announcement about this, Travis. Will Seabright insurance be higher on 2024 truck versus 2020 truck? Yes, it will, because of the value of the truck. But we just re-upped that insurance policy, that insurance coverage, and it's the same this year that it was last year. There is no change, no up,
keep in
no
mind,
down.
most insurance rates went up this year for most carriers.
Yep.
We stayed flat. Look, full disclosure, it bummed us out. The very last day,
Right.
the very last day of our insurance year, we had a claim for like $1.9 million. Had that claim not come through, we would have had a 19% price reduction in our overall thing. That one kind of flattened us out. But flat is good, not up.
So
Up
for our new to us people that aren't part of the Swift community, just so you know, all of the insured that we're talking about are Swift owner operators. That's the pool, is Swift owner operators. And we beat the pants off of the competition on claims last year.
Yes.
What was the number like? We had lower claims than 70% of the industry.
We actually beat 90% of the industry with our claims.
Was it 90?
I think so. It was crazy. It was at least 70, but I think it was 90. Let's go 70. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
We beat 70% of the industry.
And Charlie and I have been talking about why that is, because I don't want it to sound like that's representative of the carrier.
Right.
I don't know what their loss rates were. I'm not privy to that specifically, but among our cohort, which is a couple of hundred owner operators right now, we did better than most of the industry safety wise. And we think the reason is, guys, because you guys are taking your businesses more seriously than other people. And people that run their businesses well don't wreck their trucks
as often.
Right.
I mean, you got happen. Most of them aren't our people's fault.
Right.
Someone hit them, not they hit someone or something.
Yep.
And
So
that
good
makes
job
it,
on that, everyone.
yeah, for real.
I mean,
And go ahead.
in the world of insurance, a couple of hundred policies is not that big of a sampling, but it's our sampling, and our people
Right.
did really well this year,
Right.
safety wise. So good
We
job on
started
that.
out really rough. We had a lot of people who were just goo, goo, goo. You know what I'm talking about. And we had quite a few
No
claims.
camera.
We had quite a few claims very early on. I mean, the first week we had 3 or 4 claims.
Yeah.
And they were brutal, man. We're like, "Oh, that's gotta suck," for Seabright. That's not cool because they fronted all that, and it was, oof. I was feeling kind of crappy. Like I'm like, "Oh man, our guys are failing everybody." But as it averaged out over the year, we actually did really well. It started bellowing out, and honestly, to be frank, I'll be frank right now. Hi, I'm Frank.
I'm Susan.
Okay,
Wait.
hey, what? You got the pretty pink panties on. Never mind. But what happened is a lot of those guys actually put themselves right out of trucking,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of the thinning the herd, right? Culling the flock. It just was, and those that were left, the claims rate dropped and plummeted beautifully for us as a whole, and we did well. Timothy Ransom actually just upgraded to a 24 truck, and to answer your question, yes, his insurance went up about $100 more per month. So there you go. There's a good example of that. Chris Hamilton, only 3 weeks in, but I've already realized that going on was Swift, best decision I've made in a long time, especially with the whole group here. And your advice guided me in the right direction. Well, damn it, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you know what? Good job on you. Because I know for a fact, because I've been talking to Chris for several months now, I think. I want to say several months at least now. And he was talking to me long before he ever got to a contract, before he ever talked to a recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
And we were having conversations back and forth and PMs, and and then eventually we ended up on the phone together and things like that. So I mean, he asked a lot of good questions, and I think that I helped him come up with his own questions at other times. And so a lot of people think I have a question. Now I'm gonna be Joe Snuffy out there, random guy watching the channel. Jeff, what am I gonna do as a contractor? No. That's not a good question. Because Jeff's going to go, why do you want to be a contractor? Why do you want to own a business? What is your background? What is your history? Do you have any sort of business background? Things of that nature. We recorded a podcast last week with Brian Jess, one of our members, and we had a really good conversation with him. And basically that was based on he's 18 months out from his end of lease, and we actually had the discussion much like we just had with Travis here. Only he's planning this out 18 months and should be in a position to where he's going to have in excess of what he needs to pay his balloon payment off, right? But was asking, is it better to make that balloon payment or see what the open market was? Right. And right now, the open market said that the open market might be a better place for him.
Yeah.
And then we had these trucks pop up that we were asked to share with people. And those numbers are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot to look at. And it's that kind of thing. It's the questions, the answers. And one of the things that Jeff and I try to do is to get folks that when they ask us questions, sometimes we won't answer the question directly.
Right.
We want them to ask a question.
And it drives some people nuts.
Right. But we need you to understand something. An idea you come to, okay, sticks in your head better and is easier to follow versus an idea Jeff tells you, even though it's the same thing that you might have come to. one of the things we like to do is guide you to the outcome we believe needs to happen without saying that outcome and driving you and guiding you into that outcome. Because when you come to it on your own, it means more in your head and more in your heart.
Right. It's the concept of a teenager whose dad's bought him a car doesn't appreciate that car nearly as much as the dude that went and worked at a pizza joint for a year to buy a car. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Right.
One of my favorite movies that would never be released today. Don't Call Me Shirley.
Right. Travis Jones said, "What truck mileage is eligible for MRP?" I don't believe it
So
has.
I actually asked Michelle about this because this truck, when I picked it up, had 140,000 miles on it. I asked her, so is that MRP? Not MRP. What's the mileage thing? And she said it's not mileage. A truck has to complete its first lease cycle, that first 4 years,
Right.
and then it goes to MRP. Whether it was turned in by an owner or they MRP it themselves, it's got to have that first lease taken out of it. So I got this one with 2 years left on the lease. And when I'm done with that, I have some decisions to make. And I'm going to tell you, Charlie, in another 18 months now, if we have these trucks available, I'm going to try for one of those trucks.
Right. So, Trucker Tim, thank you, sir. I know it's been a few months since I got involved with y'all. October, I believe. I learned more during this time than my entire year of driving trucks. I appreciate that. Chris Hamilton followed up. Trucker Tim, exactly right. Tim said, "So thank you. Truly, I do." Bro, I appreciate it, seriously. So look, Chris has been victim of this a lot with me. Answer a question with a question has helped me the most talking to Charlie.
But has it helped you the most?
Right? I see what you did there. So yeah, I mean, Full Send Trucking lies. There you go. Get it out there. Go back to telling me that I need to kiss my own backside, because that's all this nice stuff freaks me out a little bit. So send it. Send it. I'm just saying, go ahead. Yeah. Be more specific. Simple one-liner doesn't work. Just saying. Excuse me. So my cough is actually getting better finally a month later. Still not
Nice.
gone, but getting better. Oh my God. So yeah. Hey, by the way, if you guys get any more questions, by all means, please throw them out there. But I did open the show with what are you guys doing to better your company recently? Jeff's making funny faces. It's fun to watch. I'm gonna have to zoom in on that later. I think there's a short there to be had. Just the looks.
Things
Anyhow.
keep freezing on me whenever there's a reefer that goes in front of me.
Oh, nice. Yours is, it's not freezing on your end, so there you go.
Cool.
Vegas, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know what? Full Send Trucking. You know how that is? He's trying to trick us. I forgot about his company name. If I'm not mistaken, Sean. Checking in on Sean. Anyhow, bro. Dang it. I totally forgot about that trucking company name. Anyhow, Chris comes back. I wonder. Let me think about that one. Anyhow, so yeah, if you guys got other questions, by all means, please throw them up. The other thing I asked, what the hell did I ask? Now I forgot what the hell I asked, Jeff. What was it? What was it? I said something.
What are you doing to improve your business this year?
Right. And there was something else.
I don't know. You got me hung up on that squirrel.
What new paths have you explored in your business this week? And team building, that's it. What are you doing to improve and build your team? I had to go back and look at another screen. That was funny. Failure, whatever. So yeah. because Jeff and I are really experiencing a lot with the team we've been building. Um, with some recent mindset changes in ourselves and refocusing on some things, uh, it has put us in some other opportunities that we are helping others with. Uh, we're actually doing some pretty cool coaching right now with some folks that is guiding them down a path that hopefully we're going to be able to come back and talk to you guys about in a couple months and be like, bro, we did this thing and it was really cool. And that's going to be neat. Either way, we're actually going to have some information to talk about on that subject probably over the next couple months. But it'll be neat. No matter which way it turns out, we will have learned something, and we will definitely be wanting to share some of that information. Chris said, never had the luxury of talking to Jeff, but I'm sure he is the same way. Man, you had it good, bro. Jeff's hard. He's mean, grumpy old guy. Yells at you. Uses a knife
according
to phone. Not really.
According to Sean's Facebook profile, he's the sales floor department supervisor at Lowe's Home Improvement.
Nice.
Are you a real trucker, Sean?
Right? might need to update your profile, bro. Anyhow, but yeah, so pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, Trucker Tim said, I'm going to try and meet more of the planners when given the chance. Absolutely. I mean, you should definitely do it. TK, good to see you, brother. I know you commented earlier. I apologize for not calling you out because, hey, I miss you, man. We need to hook up someday soon. Seriously. Look, oops. That's funny. Full Send Trucking LLC, sales manager on Lowe's floor. What? Doesn't sound like a trucking channel to me. Let's see. Going back to questions. I feel like I missed something up here somewhere. I apologize if I did. Hey, if you asked a question and I didn't get it or Jeff didn't get it, please, by all means, throw it back up again, please. It's hard to go back through some of these.
Chris is going to help his business by really concentrating on fuel costs.
It's cost per mile. Fuel. Yeah.
Yep.
I dig it, man. Hey, Tim. Man, look, if you're down here in Florida, I'm only 40 miles from the Ocala terminal. And don't get mad if I don't show up because 40 miles some days is like just too much, bro. But definitely, I like meeting people. It's fun. You can catch me at Target more often than not, honestly. Up there in Lake City. I run into a lot of people there. It's funny there because, like, people, this is going to sound stupid, but whatever. Sometimes I'll see people look at me and they're like, is that dude? And they won't come up and say hi. That bums me out. I'm like, maybe.
And then there's those of you guys that'll come up to me at a truck stop and say, "Hey, Jeff," and I'm like, "Hey, you."
Hey, guy, lady. Have no idea who you are. And I dropped my cigar. Sorry. Don't take that because I can tell you me. I don't look at Facebook profiles.
Right.
Typically, I have no idea what many people look like. It's baffling. And then when I do meet them, I'm like, you're not Sean.
Right.
Because that does not look like what I saw.
Hey, Full Send Trucking. Offered to buy tacos and he'll be there. I'll deadhead 1,000 miles for tacos.
Okay. Rosie would damn sure make me go. Yes, you should have, TK. He said he should have stopped by my house. Just saying. Even though he still spells my name with an IE, and that's fine, whatever. It's EY. EY. Yeah. Spell my name right. Say my name. Wait, that's something different. Never mind. Oh, man.
Breaking Bad, another great show.
Chris. Timothy said, Chris, if you slow down to 65 instead of 70, you'll gain an extra 1 mile.
Maybe. Got to figure out where your truck likes to live.
Right.
I mean, we've gone back and forth about this for years. And, you just got to do the experiment on your own truck. We got some really wonky gear ratios.
Mile per gallon per mile per hour.
Yeah, that's the easy math. If all things set up properly.
Look, life on 18 wheels. We've met enough. You got to know by now, Charlie. I.e. See that again? Everybody.
Huh?
Everybody does it, Jeff. No, nobody spells Jeff Jeph.
Or GEOFF.
I actually have a friend who's a
British.
GEOFF. That was always hard because I always spelled his JEFF, and he's like, bro. I'm like, my bad. And then I just didn't call him by that name. I called him by his thug life name. I just said, screw it. Can't mess that one up. It's pretty straightforward. Anyhow, won't talk about that. Turk Dip said, I'll deadhead for a steak, medium rare. You know what, sir? Jeff. What in the actual...
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Oh, God. And now it begins. Here we go.
Hey, man, you put yourself out there. We found a trigger for you. Do you need a safe room, Charlie? Is that where you went? Charlie went to his safe room. When he comes out, we should give him a trophy or something.
I want a trophy. Participation. That's the trophy for me.
You showed up, man. You showed up.
I'm just saying. Yeah, you know. Oh, yeah. CW said he thinks he met me and the wife about 8, 9 years ago.
Oh.
That's cool. I'm sorry if I don't remember. I apologize. Chris said he's been running 64. So he doesn't bog in the hills for his first 30 year. So far, 9.1. I dig it.
Nice.
He's going to try 62. See? So you can definitely tell we've been talking because, yeah, I dig it. You know, he's trying to run at least 30 days to get averages, to try the various speeds to see what's actually going to fit his truck and what his truck is going to like. Because let's face it, they're all a little bit different. I mean, you know, whatever. In the days of the Series 60 Detroit, it was pretty easy to stay. 1 mile per hour was 1/10 of a mile per gallon. And that was pretty steady across all brands at the time. It was pretty easy to say, you know, if you got a 13 speed, drive in 12th and do 55, and you will do better than you did at 60.
Yeah.
Now, depending on gear ratios and the way that they've tuned these things, because, you know, these companies are constantly retuning and fine tuning and out tuning and whatever. I mean, you could have 3 identical Freightliners and they all run different miles per gallon at the same speed.
Yeah.
It's an odd thing.
I'd like to get a deal with Freightliner like that one guy got with Volvo.
Right.
And just really test one of their new trucks. Run it through the ringer and
right.
Have an actual engineer on call at all times.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because that dude's last report I saw, he had his spreadsheets posted and everything at 10.1 miles per gallon on transcontinental run that he did.
Right.
That's crazy. I think he said he had just under 30,000 in the box, so it was light, but still, you know, with any load at all, getting over 10, that's freaking incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely they've got some things going on. Like that Volvo test stuff is phenomenal. What do we got going on? TK, I'm researching what fuel filters are best for my 579 right now. Hey, I happen to know of a 579 for sale for 60 grand. Just saying. And I can't believe I actually drive an entire week at 68. 68 gets me only 7 miles per gallon. Good. Sweet. Bleep.
In my 22, I cry when I get below 8 on the dash.
Right.
And I call Charlie and whine about it. And then he says, "Well, how much did you idle watching TV last night, Jeff?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Let's see. Mike Henderson. That's actually I remember when that started. It's funny. He said I've been watching for over a year, never met or talked to either one of you. Only reason I ever started watching was Charlie met the 4 million mile boy Julius Day, my best bud. Yeah, that was a cool conversation. It was a very brief conversation that he and I had at a fuel island in Lancaster. I believe is where it was. Is Lancaster or Laredo? No, it was I think it was Lancaster. And yeah, that was a cool. He was cool, man. He's just he's pretty kind of low key, man. He's just kind of flying out there doing his thing.
No TK, no. Who is that? Sean?
Yes.
Sean.
Come on,
It is
Grandpa,
not
get
red.
it.
It's black.
CW. I hear you. You know what's funny is I typically avoid people. I love doing this stuff and I love talking to people one on one. I get a little creeped out and really struggle with crowds. I think I hide it well most times. But Jeff can tell you, like, running around Fleet Week, like I just have to get up and leave at times. I mean, and everybody that is real close to me knows that I'll just bounce. I won't say anything. I'm just gone. And it's just that the world's closing in, man. I gotta get outside. I gotta get some space. It's nothing personal. It's just a weird thing for me. I mean, we could talk about it. I don't want to.
Okay. Fair enough then.
TK said he learned the hard way. His dash and his fuel app are never the same.
How much did that cost you?
Yeah.
I ran a truck out of fuel twice actually. Once was because I had miscalculated the winter blend fuel mileage, and I literally ran out of fuel one exit away from my plant fuel stop.
But here's what he's talking about, Jeff: fuel mileage tracking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Chewy. Good Lord, Chewy could be a full mile per gallon off on the display, and as close as 0.3 of a mile per gallon. No rhyme or reason why one did the other, and it was weird. I don't even know. This one here, I'm within 1 or 0.2 of a mile per gallon. It's solid.
Yeah, so is mine.
I love it. Man, technology for the win, bro. Some days. Hey, I took my truck in for a service. That was fun. I got quoted $560 for a windshield on my Freightliner. That hurt my feelings.
So we found something out about that too, Charlie, didn't we?
Yeah.
People won't touch them because of that stupid camera bundle thing for all the lane departure and stuff.
Yeah, Safe Flight wouldn't touch my 23 Freightliner windshield anymore. They said they were, and now they're no longer doing it. I don't know. I don't understand it.
So how did you handle that with the Seabright insurance?
So what I'm going to have to do is I opted to, so the carrier that actually carries that part of our insurance, I can't remember which one it is, wanted me to submit the bill to them and they would pay the bill to Swift. Let's be real. Swift ain't playing that. They're going to be like, no, bro, pay us. You deal with your crap. We don't want it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to submit the invoice to them and they will reimburse me. So 560 was the quote. According to my work order right now, I'm still waiting for everything to finalize because I don't know, slow stuff. Whatever. We could do a whole show on that by itself. Anyhow, as of right now, according to my work order, the parts and install and removal, $290. Not 560. Nice. So, yeah.
Well, we got a couple of things here. I wanted to say this real quick. TK, pen and paper, or CW said TK, pen and paper, much cheaper and always accurate.
Right.
So the app that we represent is actually the Fuel Gauges app from Kevin Rutherford. Right now, though, you have to go on the website to do it because they no longer support the app. itself.
It's weird.
It's weird. Like if you're like even when I switched phones, because it was in my catalog already, it just automatically downloaded it because it was
Right.
part of the setup.
Transferred over.
But if you don't already have it, it won't.
It won't let you
Google Play
install it.
says nope, not supported. So it's kind of
Your
weird.
version of Android is too new.
Yeah.
Ask the app developer to update their app. What? And when we talk to the app developer, they're like, "Yeah, we done some stuff, but nah." Okay, but you can go on the website and do it there through Let's Truck.
And Mike Henderson, yeah, I cried to Charlie yesterday about the same thing. The other
For
night, I
real.
wanted to cry 40 mile per hour straight, went straight into the front of my truck, like 5.5 miles per gallon. It wasn't quite that bad for me, but I was pushing those lower sevens, going, "Good gosh, this is not fun, man." I was calling Charlie and crying. And then today, nothing. So I got my fuel mileage back up to 8 on today's
Right.
leg.
Tim said, "I thought Florida residents get a free windshield replacement. We actually do. The insurance law in Florida states that you are entitled to one free windshield per year, which also means no deductible, right? So I'm not paying a deductible, and I'm being completely reimbursed for the cost of the windshield. So yeah, it's a pain because I got to wait for the reimbursement, but not a huge deal, honestly. Not gonna kill me, and there was money in the maintenance account to cover it all. My initial estimate was $1,700 for my service at 200,000 miles plus the windshield, and I came out of there at right at $1,000. So, Jeff, you remember back when I got put on safety hold for my annual inspection on my truck?
Yeah.
And I was complaining, saying, "Well, my work order says I got an annual DOT inspection done."
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I went back to the shop and said, "You guys already did my DOT." And they're like, "No, we didn't." I'm like, "Yes, it says right there you did." "No, you didn't." Can I just tell you that I went back to the shop again before? And they're like, "Yeah, we're going to do an annual DOT inspection." I'm like, "So wait a minute, hold up, because you just triggered me again, bro." Right. You're actually doing a DOT inspection, and that's going to be registered and stated as such. "Oh, yeah. We do that. We do it on every service." Then why is it the last time I got put on safety hold? I don't know. I'm like, "But I came to you guys and asked you, and you told me no."
Yep.
So weird things. I'm just saying. I'm absolutely gonna be sticking by this and forcing this issue, because I actually had to go out and pay for another damn DOT inspection that one time, which I had already gotten 2 weeks prior. Ugh. By the way, I had to walk in with my contract again, even though Tim Burks, the VP over the shop stuff, said, "Well, it's in the system." And I said, I'm like, "Bro, are you going to do this stuff?" He's like, "That's not," he pulled up what the system was telling him he had to do. He's like, "Yeah, man, this thing here, the power steering filter change thing wasn't on there, even though I was at one of those 100,000 mile marks." He's like, "Do me a favor, bring in your contract." And this time he made a copy of it. It'll get lost, but whatever.
Yeah.
I am the only person. Well, there was one other person that pressed the issue, and then I found out that the other person was me. I've only ever had 2 people do this before. I'm like, "Yeah, bro, was it like a few months back?" And it was this. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, and I'm like, "And Tim Burks got involved?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That was me, bro." So yeah, it's a thing. Seriously. Hey, TK. Sorry, buddy. I didn't see you leaving. Till next time, everyone be safe, he said. Be good, brother. Be careful. But yeah, so I had to take my contract in again to say, "Hey, look, this is the things that it says I'm supposed to do." "Okay, bro, we'll get it." And okay, so here's another weird thing. Last time it was $980, and I didn't get a windshield installed. This time was $1,000, and I got a windshield installed. I don't understand it, man.
It's weird, man.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Tim, I've seen you post about this before. If you accumulated so much, 50K, that was a misunderstanding, but be prepared for the massive takeaway from your settlements going over the 10K month per limit on lease trucks. Just warning you so you're prepared. So that I'd have to look at my contract. What is it, Charlie? 9 cents a mile.
90 cents per mile.
So that goes into an escrow account. You don't technically lose that money. It'll be used for a couple of things. If you turn the truck in, the first thing they'll do is they'll take out of that account for any repairs to the truck to make it saleable again. If you're buying the truck out, it goes towards your buyout. If you're leasing a new truck, it goes towards that. So you don't really lose it unless you just completely walk away. So that's something that, a lot of people don't understand that part of our dealy bob. And right now, if you're solo, let's just be honest and real. A solo driver is probably not going to breach that 10K a month right now.
Not most. There's some of you guys out on dedicated doing.
Yeah, there are. But yeah, it's money that I think you like. When I was a mentor, I absolutely every single month I was paying a couple $100 usually.
Right.
But it went towards my next truck. And finally, on my 16, between that and back then they had a completion bonus of $10,000. So by the time everything was said and done on that truck, I only owed them like 48 or 50, something like that. So I should know that, but I don't. It's in the past.
Watch this, Jeff.
Hmm.
You're gonna love
You got it?
I'm doing a thing.
Oh, you got 7 minutes to do it.
I'm doing it right here. Bow. Bow. That did not do what I
Nobody
wanted.
could see that, but okay.
That was the wrong page. Hang on, I shared the wrong dang page. Dang it! I was doing a thing. Talk, Jeff. You're welcome.
Talk.
I'm doing the thing where I'm moving my head. It's funny. Share screen. Where did that go?
Yeah. So Trucker Tim says, "Oh, that's why my buyout was $1,800." That's probably. It adds up, especially if you're like me and you took 3 trucks to actually buy one. You just kept rolling over.
There we go. Now I found it. Excess mileage charge. Lessee agrees that the rent is based upon normal wear and tear, and the lessee shall drive vehicle 10,000 miles dispatched by carrier. Whether loaded or empty, or less per month standard mileage. Lessee agrees to pay a charge of 9 cents for each mile driven in excess of the standard mileage. Excess mileage charge. Excess mileage charge shall be calculated monthly by subtracting the standard mileage from the same month's actual miles dispatched by carrier, whether loaded or empty, based on the carrier's then most current version of the mileage guide, and multiplying 9 cents per mile. All excess mileage payments include administrative cost reimbursements and markups benefiting lessor. All funds collected from lessee as excess mileage fees shall be the property of lessor. But if lessee, with lessor's approval, exercise the purchase option under Section 18, all such funds shall be returned to the lessee in the form of a credit towards the purchase price. Ta-da! Just saying.
I know back in the day when mentors were doing like 20,000 miles a month, people would bump that thing up and end up owing Swift like 10 grand at the end.
Section 2C of the equipment contract for the standard lease.
Yep.
Thought I'd throw it out there. What did we miss?
Of course, that was also when the buyout on these trucks was like 25, 30 grand,
Right? Not 86,000. Good God. It's a little painful.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. And now, same truck, if you were to start it today, would be not bad.
Yep. It'd be 65.
$86,314 is mine. My market value right now is only $134,000. Just saying.
Yep.
My SLV as of today, what's today? Today is the we're gonna wrap up 210.24 would be my next SLV value. It's $171,404, and the market value is $134 right now.
It's more than my first house.
Right? A little upside down. Just saying. It's a thing. Whatever.
Of course, my first house also didn't pay me.
Right? Oh, clicky, clicky. Sorry, trying to catch up on stuff. I'll come back to that. I'm gonna check the Facebooks one more time, real fast. One more again. I think we're good. So we're coming up on our time, y'all. Last call. If you want to throw out a quick question, we'll do our best to answer it. If we are unable to answer your question in a timely manner and before our show ends, then throw it down there in the comments in the bottom, not over there, but down in the bottom after the show ends. I get confused because
Down is down.
it's over here, right? But when I point, it's backwards. Ah, man, confused. Mirror, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's hitting me, Charlie.
I know, right? Just found the wall, and we still have a meeting. We got to talk to our podcast producer at 8:30. And record.
We should.
That'd be great.
I'm really hoping that next week we can announce to you guys when the podcast is going to go live. So doing a podcast, for those of you that have never tried to do a podcast and working with a professional podcast producer, sometimes you think that you nailed it and you didn't.
Right? You're like, yeah, bro. He's like, that's not cool.
And then he sends us an email back that's like 200 pages long and telling us that we suck. But he's a nice guy. Greg is a really nice guy. Like,
totally.
I can't say anything bad about the dude, like, at all. He's one of those people, and almost too nice, because what he should be saying is, you guys suck, do it again. But he's like, that was a good first attempt, but I think you could change this, that, and the other thing. And yeah.
Right? It's funny. Alan just called me. That was funny.
He knows better than that.
I'm like, bro, doing the show.
Got a minute left.
Right? He's like, why haven't you wrapped yet, slacker? Whatever. I'm sure.
He owes me an address.
Oh. Right? Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Load board update. Damn you, Trucker Tim. We almost made it. There are no updates, brother. What do you want from us?
I did tell Jerry White this week when I talked to him, I said, here's the thing. The load board has been a thing for so long. At this point, it's just the butt of jokes. You guys really need to do something about that. So the update is that there are no updates. They put another guy on it, and they're still swearing up and down into first quarter.
We'll see.
I really enjoyed using it when I had access to it, but yeah, it's just whatever.
I remember a statement, Jeff. The end of 2022, we will have a load board with percentage. Oh, that one bit someone in the backside.
Yep.
Yeah. OTR Vic, mentors make the all miles paid to the truck. That's a quick, easy answer.
Yeah, I would say that financially it may or may not be worth it, but if your heart is the heart of a teacher, that part is absolutely worth it.
I love teaching.
You're gonna pay more in insurance. You're gonna have to have a camera, and you make the mileage of the truck.
And you have to have the Swift insurance, a Swift approved camera.
Mm-hmm. Now they are changing to the was it the Samsara or the Netrodyne?
I believe they're seem to be rolling out the Netrodynes more.
Okay. For those of you guys that are mentors, those guys that are mentors that are stuck with that camera for now, I would seriously look at getting it swapped out for that Netrodyne because it's a much better system.
Okay, we got to wrap this, but I'm going to wrap this with a public service announcement. If you are a contractor and you are a mentor and you found a way to finagle a shop to take the camera out of your truck, I'm going to recommend that you take your butt back there right away and get a camera put back in your truck. heard some things. It's not going to end well. Contractually speaking, you agreed to some things. Being a mentor.
I'm actually going for the Walter right now.
I like it. You agreed to have Swift insurance and Swift's camera. Do yourself a favor. Go back and fix it. I heard
apparently there's some shops that are just there's some shops that are just doing it because the owner told them to, and they're not checking.
That's going to come back on you, not the shop.
That's right.
You agreed to this by contract. Be careful. On that note, y'all, Jeff, last word quick.
Be safe, man.
Yes. Remember, no one's out here taking care of us but us.
Yep.
Be safe. Stay healthy. Stay profitable. You know what? And in the words of our former mentor, master the journey. I'll throw it out there. I don't care. He ain't going to sue me. He might sue me.
Kevin Rutherford.
Dig that dude. I wouldn't be in business today if it wasn't for him. Honest to God, throw that out there. Full disclosure. Never hid that fact. Someone was trying to bust me out because, there's a lot of things that we say that are kind of Kevin Rutherford-y, right? Well, that's because he was kind of a mentor of mine in this trucking entrepreneurship. So there you go. I have no problem with that. Anyhow, you guys be safe. We'll see you next week right here, 6 p.m. Tuesday, Eastern time, like every Tuesday. We will see you guys. We love you. I love you. I don't know about Jeff. Jeff's kind of a grumpy dude. I love every one of you most of the time. You've got your moments. Yes. And on that, hold that.